Recording in progress. Okay. So let us start at the top of the mat. Let's bring our hands together, feet together, and we'll just take a few breaths to settle in on the feet. And when your eyes are closed, try not to squint them closed or squeeze. Just a light closing. Get rid of the tension behind your eyelids as much as you can. That is as much a part of this practice as all the hard stuff. On your next exhale, lower the arms. Inhale to reach up, look up at the thumbs. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Let's slide the hands about 12 inches in front of the feet so that we can lean our weight into the hands, and from there, jump back into Chaturanga. So there's like a little lift up with your butt, and then you go back. Good. And we'll lean in downward dog. And sometimes that process of moving the hands might mean that you're creeping forward on your mat. You need to walk it back when you're in down dog. Just keep in mind all those logistics. There's a lot of poses where you end up in a weird place on your mat. And then you just fix it. Let's think about keeping the arms very straight. Lift the heels for an inhale. Bend the knees. Exhale, look forward and jump feet forward. Inhale when you get there. Fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale. And just fold again for the exhale. Remember last week I was getting on you guys about keeping your elbows in. Inhale, slide the hands forward a few inches so that when you jump back, you can lift your butt and find like this little moment of an almost handstand pike. And we'll meet in downward dog. And that's just to help start getting your bandhas active, your shoulders active. So while we're here, let's hollow out the belly. It will do it on its own, but let's exaggerate it a little bit. Draw your belly button in up toward your ribs so that you feel a little bit skinnier in the waist. Maybe not a noticeable change with external eyeballs, but you'll feel it. Okay, heels up for an inhale, bend the knees, exhale, and float forward. Inhale halfway, fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale. And let's fold again for the exhale, elbows in. Inhale to fingertips, hands under shoulders. Shift the weight forward so your heels are off the ground. Claw the ground with your fingertips, and then push with your feet to wind up in your plank and chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing, we pull ourselves forward. Downward facing, we push ourselves back. So we're using the fingers to do this push-pull. And we'll stay here for a few breaths, but in a moment when we do jump forward, your fingers are going to be pulling you into that position. So it's not just your palms, it's not your wrists. Think more about going the extra inch forward so your fingertips actually take some of that weight. Let's go heels up for an inhale. Bend the knees, exhale, and jump. Inhale whenever you're there, and fold, exhale. Rise up. Inhale. Let's lower the arms. Exhale. Bend into the knees. Bakasana. Inhale. And halfway down, we'll just bend the knees so they're parallel to the floor. We'll bring the chest to the thighs so the back is rounded. And then notice how your arms start to get heavy. Let's lift the arms up toward the ceiling. Thumbs up. Good. So you'll feel your upper back get real strong. On the exhale, fold and straighten the legs. Inhale halfway up, slide the hands forward. Place Interlace the palms, lift the heels, push off with your feet. So a little bend in the knees, then a lift and extend. And we'll meet in down dog whenever you have cycled through. Good. From down dog, right leg up high, inhale. Right knee to the right elbow, exhale. Leg up high again, inhale. Knee to the forehead, round your back, exhale. Leg up high, inhale. And step between the hands using that same effort that it took to get your knee to your forehead. Warrior one, inhale. Hands to the floor, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Left leg up, inhale. Knee to the elbow, exhale. Leg up again, inhale. Knee to the nose or forehead, round your back, exhale. Leg up again, inhale. Foot between the hands, exhale. Back heel comes down, warrior one, inhale. Hands to the floor, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. And let's go for B position. We'll bend the elbows so that they land behind the wrists. And we'll try to press the floor away from us. So there's a little more space there in the shoulder. And then armpits back towards your thighs. Inner thighs move back, heels move toward the floor, belly in, ribs tucked. Okay, let's re-straighten the arms. And after your exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale whenever you're there. Fold, exhale. Bend into the knees, Krounchasana. Again, we'll do that thing where we lean forward. This time we'll attempt it in steeple mudra. So interlace the fingers, get your pointer finger to point forward, and now arms up. So it's a little more difficult because now your hands are together. Sometimes our shoulders are a little stiff. If you feel like it's basically impossible, just separate your hands again to shoulder width. But keep thinking thumbs up to the ceiling, belly in. Good, and straighten the legs, fold, exhale. Inhale, slide the hands forward, shift your weight into the palm so that you're ready for your lift and extend back. Good, so there's like a half a second of a handstand hover with that little pike situation. Okay, from down dog, right leg up, inhale, knee to the nose or forehead, exhale. Inhale, leg up. And warrior one, step forward, lift the arms. This time, palms together. Bend the elbows so the thumb touches the back of the neck. Good, elbows up and back, chin up so your throat is open. Pubic bone up so your abs are strong. Okay, and hands to the floor, vinyasa. Elbows graze the ribs as you come down. From down dog, left leg up high. Bring the knee toward the nose. This is prepping you for the stepping forward. Leg up again, inhale. And then that same action to bring it forward between the hands. Warrior one. Hands together, bend the elbows. Good, push into the outer edge of your right foot. Make your right hip go forward another half inch. Elbows up and then back. Okay, we'll lift the arms, hands down, vinyasa. We'll come down to hands and knees. so that we can measure out our elbow distance. You don't want them to be too wide, so curl the fingers over. Then interlace your fingers and just find dolphin. Knees up, head dangling. I like to tuck that bottom pinky in so that there's no bottom pinky getting squished. Both pinkies are just kind of on the same plane, which is the mat. Let's walk the feet in a little bit more. And now you're going to feel you have to push more with the edge of your hand and your wrist in order to keep your head off the ground. Take one more breath. Walk your feet back to a plank shape so that the elbows are either under the shoulders or slightly in front of. And Aga, I'm not sure if you're frozen. Walk your feet back. There you go. And separate the hands to a down dog B, forearms parallel. Aga, hips up a little higher. Yes. Now walk the feet in, down dog B. And straighten the arms, down dog A. Flip the heels up, inhale. Bend the knees, exhale, and jump. Inhale when you get there, and fold, exhale. Bend into the knees, inhale. And let's take our cactus arms, and then that folding forward business. So now we sort of have 2 points that we have to think about. So we have to think elbows up, and we have to think knuckles up, because it's real tempting to have your hands dangling. So as best you can, round your back, chest toward your thighs, elbows up, knuckles up. So we're just activating our back muscles like crazy. Take one more breath here, and then we're going to jump back. If you're not sure what I mean by this kind of hover jump back, then just have a look-see, otherwise we'll meet in downward dog. We're going to fold for the exhale. Inhale to slide the hands forward a bit, and we'll shift the weight, and we'll do this go up and then back. So there's just this little moment where you're suspended. And you don't have to think too much about it, because in your sequences, you do it like a million times. Good. Right leg up high, inhale. Knee to the nose, exhale. Leg up high, inhale. Step to the hands, exhale. This time, Asana, left knee down, hands to the hips. Squeeze the elbows in. Bend that front knee a little bit more, if you can. Okay, let's lower the fingertips, lift the back knee, lower the back heel for triangle. So we'll just keep our right hand tented on the pinky toe edge of the foot, or like the ankle region. So it's under your hand, basically. And tented just means I'm on my fingertips. And with this position, you're a little bit higher up. So now you can move back more. You can get your right shoulder under you, your left shoulder behind you. See if you can stay there, but move your right hand to your big toe grip without letting the body shift. Okay, and let's release the hands down, step back, vinyasa. Left leg up high, inhale. Knee to the nose, exhale. Leg up again, inhale. And we step forward for Asana. Right knee down, hands to the hips. And periodically, like every couple weeks at least, look back at your back foot and just see, is your foot going straight behind your knee? Not off to one side or the other of your mat. Okay, fingertips down, back knee up, back foot variation on Chakorasana. So keep leaning the ribs back. And look, get your shoulder back a little bit more. Your arm is back, but your shoulder has to go too. Yes. Good. So if you can stay like that, but reach your left hand for your left big toe with the first two fingers and thumb. Okay, and let's release the hands. Step back, vinyasa. Careful in this chaturanga that your hips don't drop. So the hips are at the same height as your shoulders until you choose to go for upward facing dog where you drop the hips and lift the shoulders. Chaturanga is just the same body shape as plank. Okay, let's come to hands and knees again. Measure out your elbows again. And interlace your fingers. Dolphin, round two. Walk the feet into a comfy spot. This time we're just going to play with rocking forward and placing the head where it would go for a headstand, but then rocking back again to dolphin. So when we rock forward, we push off the balls of the feet, we let the head come down. And when we rock back, we push into the edge of the hand and we try to get the heels down again. And you can do this with your feet any distance away from your elbows. You'll see it changes the shoulder strength requirement quite a bit as you walk your feet closer. Looks pretty good. All right. So the next time that your head is off the ground, just change your hands to a down dog V position, palms flat, and straighten your arms for downward dog. Let's walk hands to feet. Hastasana, slide the hands under the feet, palms face up. Inhale, and fold, exhale. Draw the belly in so it's not resting on your legs. It's gonna be close to your legs, but there's a little space there, at least energetically. Let's inhale for straight arms. We're gonna slide the hands under the feet again. I'm gonna come up a little closer. This time we're gonna go palms down, thumbs out. So I'm gonna be standing on my knuckles. My palms are facing the right and left, and my forearms are facing forward. You won't be able to fold as deeply here, but it's a nice wrist position. And those of you that are working on mayurasana in your personal practices, this is one way to get the wrists sort of used to that position. Plus it's a hamstring stretch. If you have tight hamstrings, it's gonna be hard. Let's take one more breath. Okay. Release the hands and walk them forward into downward dog. Okay. Right leg up high, inhale. Knee to the nose, exhale. So that left leg is super strong as you bring your right leg in. Right leg up high again, inhale, and step between the hands. Land your toes in the same line as your fingertips. Good, Parshvakonasana. Left heel down, left arm reaching out over the ear. And you can be on that tented finger position, or you could be palm flat. Let's see. And walk your back foot back a little bit more, because we need your right knee over your ankle. Straight line here. And now push your knee into your arm. Good. One more breath. We'll lower that left hand. Let's just lift that right foot up to down dog, three-legged down dog again. So just the right leg will lift up. Good. Step that right foot in front of the right hand. Kind of a long trip, but we could do it, just a long lunge. Let's get that right shoulder under the knee And reach the arms out to the side like airplane wings. And now we're just using the strength of the legs to stay. So back heel off the ground. Yeah, so it's just kind of a normal lunge. It's just longer and your chest is down in order to get your shoulder under. Lisa, are you okay? All right, let's unravel ourselves and vinyasa. Hello, hips. Feels early in the morning for hips, but you gotta do it. Okay. Left leg up high, inhale. Knee to the nose, exhale. Inhale, left leg up. And step foot to hands, exhale. Parshvakonasana. So the reason we're doing all those rounded planks is that we're trying to build some core strength so that we can jump through, so that we can have our foot behind our head and sit up straight, so that we can do inversions without being wiggly. All this stuff comes from core strength. Okay, let's lower that right hand, left leg to the ceiling, inhale. And step that left foot in front of the left hand so you have a longer lunge than normal. Dip the chest low so you can wedge your shoulder under the knee and arms out. You can get your right heel to be above the ball of your foot, so there's quite a lot of flex in the toe, and then your back leg will be real strong. Good. And let's unravel. Step to plank. Keep the plank shape. Let's hover in chaturanga. Just bend the elbows. Take a breath. Good. Then dip the hips, lift the shoulders, and exhale to downward dog. So periodically, it's nice to just hover so that you know you are keeping the belly in. Gravity is very powerful, but we don't want it to take us. I had to go get a dish towel to be my sweat broke because it'd be hot up in here. Okay, we'll come to hands and knees again. Measure it out. This time we're going to go back and forth, lifting our legs, lowering our legs, etc. Otherwise, it will be the same. So we'll walk our feet in. We'll lower the head. We'll lift the legs. You decide how high you lift the legs, whatever. But then you're going to lower your legs again. They're going to act as one unit. You'll put them on the floor, and then you'll lift your head, push your chest back. And you'll just do that a few times. You're just entering headstand and exiting. And you just go slow enough that you sort of know where you are in space. Try to keep your legs together. If you have any back issues, you might have to bend your knees. If you do not have back issues, keep your legs as straight as you can. Take one or two more. I want to watch. Hard to watch when I'm doing it with you. So my only comment right now is, Miss Lisa, when you lower your feet, you do not have to walk them back. You'll be fine right there. You just have to use your shoulders like crazy. I know it sucks. I know. But just try not to walk your feet back. It's tempting. Wherever they land is good. So we're just developing shoulder flexibility and strength with these shenanigans. And when you've had enough, let's meet in a normal down dog again with straight arms. bring the right foot 3/4 of the way forward. Lower the back heel, and we'll just straighten both legs. So the hands are still out in front, because we only brought the foot 3/4 forward, which means our hands are forward of the foot. Lengthen both side bodies. Anouk, let's get your left hip to go higher. Yes, stay just like that. Bring your hands behind your back for reverse prayer, or whatever your version of reverse prayer is. And either chin to your shin or forehead to your shin. Those of you who do put your foot behind your head, or you're starting to think about it, at least sometimes put your chin on your shin, because you have to strengthen your neck and your upper back, so that one day your foot stays back there on its own. Okay, let's release the hands. Come on to fingertips. You're a bit higher off the ground than normal. And turn it into twisted triangle. Left hand to either side of the foot, right arm up. And once you feel like you can manage your breath, place your palm flat. Good. Anouk, let's get your left shoulder more over to your right side. Good. That left shoulder is going to go over the left hand, and then the right shoulder can revolve around. Okay, let's untwist. We'll place our hands down in front again so that we can just step to plank. Keep this belly in position, slowly lower to chaturanga. Then make a conscious effort for upward dog, then we drop the hips. And exhale to downward dog, we hoist ourselves up. Good, so just one little detail. Have a look-see for a sec at your screen and watch my feet. So here's plank chaturanga. I'm gonna slide my feet back a little bit so that I can come up, and then watch the feet again. They're gonna drag in so that I can roll over and wind up in a comfortable shape of down dog. Otherwise, what ends up happening is you wind up with your feet like real far back and you have to walk it in. So let the drag happen. Okay, we'll do everything on the other side and then you'll get to try it again. Let's bring the left foot 3/4 of the way forward. Lower the back heel and just pause with fingertips down. Lengthen your side bodies. We're just trying to square the hips here and strengthen the quads, open the hamstring. Good. When you can, reach behind you for reverse prayer. Now it's just up to your legs for balance. So squeeze your thighs together like that. I like to use the hands behind the back to make my spine go a little bit further over my leg. So it's reaching like not just to the knee, but more toward the ankle. Okay, and into twisted triangle. Our legs are already set up, but we have to figure out how to twist without changing the legs. So one of my tricks is left hand to right hip. Pick the hip up toward the ceiling as you twist. That's just going to help you not get out of that square position. And this is one of those poses that if you were in a room with your teacher, they could adjust to in this pose every day for your entire life. And you'll always need the adjustment. Just one of those poses that will never be automatically easy. Let's unravel. Place the palms out in front of you, because that's where they were when you started. And then step back into your plank. And let's try allowing the feet to slide a little bit. So it takes more Baddhas. When you're hoisting from up dog to down dog, it's the Baddhas that lift your hips up. And then you can roll over your toes. Good. And if it ever feels like your toes are going to break, then don't roll over the toes. One day that's going to change. bring the right foot in front of the right hand again, like you did before. But this time lower the left knee to the ground. I'm going to face this away. And then let's open up that right knee to the side. We'll flex that right foot. So it's like lizard, but long legs. More spread out lizard. Okay, maybe we come down onto the elbows. Maybe we curl the back toes and lift the knee. These are all just variations on lizard. If lotus is something that you struggle with, this is a really good prep. And you can do this every day. All right, let's return to palms. So lower the back knee again. Turn that right foot forward. We're going to go for a bound twisted Chakorasana. So the left arm up and over. Hook as high up as you can on that left arm. Use the right hand on the left forearm to just give your left arm a little nudge under that right leg. As soon as your knuckles are near your left hip, you'll be able to connect the hands. And when you can, lift the back knee. If you're not binding, you could just do a prayer or any other arm position you like. If your bind is going well, you have no shoulder pain, you can lower your back heel to the floor. It's going to make it a lot harder, so maybe you try it, and then your shoulder says, and you change your mind again. All right, let's slowly unravel. Place the hands. Slide the right foot 12 inches back. So you're in like a no man's land. This is not a pose. We're going to dip our chest low, get our right shin bone to our right armpit, and then just lift the right foot off the ground. This is also not a pose. This is like a plank with your right foot up and your right shin stuck. So we're going to try to do the same thing as you did in your down dog, dragging your foot in. So we're going to lift the hips and let that left foot come in. At some point, you can get your left foot off the ground. When you do, bring it to bakasana with 2 legs, and then jump back vinyasa. Good. And let's pause for 1 sec there in your downward dog. Okay, so have one more look-see at your screen. You might want to get off your wrists for a second so that you can have some sustainability. So that was Bakasana. Say you're in upward dog. This whole thing with the hips, this is bandhas to lift my hips up. You do that action every time you're in a vinyasa. So that is what is prepping you for Bakasana. So you don't have to think of it as a big deal pose. You're prepping for it all the time. Okay, let's do all this stuff on the other side. Left foot in front of left hand. Right knee down. Lizard style number 1. We'll flex that left foot. Get the edge of the foot down. The knee will drop open. Come to the elbows if you want. You can lift your right knee off the ground if you want. And even here, practice gazing a little bit forward. If you let your head drop, you might be then training your body to drop your head into the arm balance. You can't drop your head in an arm balance or your butt is going to be too heavy. So keep looking forward and think of this chest moving forward. Okay, let's lower the right knee. Lift this up. Turn that left foot to face front again. And we'll go for our bound Chakorasana. So right arm up and over. And do whatever you need to do to get your right armpit pretty much against your thigh. That's the key. And then you can do whatever arms you want. But if you are close, armpit to thigh, You can get this fine. Just give your right arm a little nudge under the leg. Doesn't have to go super far under, just enough to get to the hip. Good. And maybe the back heel comes down, then it's like warrior one legs. And we need to keep pushing the knee into the right arm. No matter which arm position you're doing, push your left knee to the left. Okay, let's unravel. And we'll just think of our core for the next 45 seconds. We'll slide the left foot back about 12 inches. My screen went dead because some freaking, okay, I think it's back. Some telemarketer decided to call me right at Bakasana. Okay, left shin to armpit. Rock forward and just find your plank. And just make sure that in plank, your belly is drawing up and there's no dip to your hips. The opposite of the dip. And on it, you might want to go more shin and less knee. So this part of your shin on your armpit is going to make it a lot easier. And then we'll start to push the shin into the arm, get the butt up, and then that right leg can lift. Good, so there's quite a bit of leaning that we have to do, which is why we have to look forward. Okay, we'll meet in downward dog. And let's jump through and have a seat. Okay, not bad. Let's bring our legs out in front. I'm going to face this way for a sec. We're just going to practice lifting one leg at a time. It's going to be pretty awful. So just lower it and then try the other. I'm looking to the side so I can see y'all because my little screen is right here. So you feel how your thighs clench a bit and your hip flexor works like crazy. Natural feeling to do this activity. All right, we're going to turn it into Krounchasana. Let's lean to the right so that we can fold our left leg back. And get the arch of your left foot just right up against your hip. You might want to sit on the block. Then we're going to try to lift this leg on its own. It will only go so high on its own. And then you'll grab hold of your foot and pull it in the rest of the way. And we'll try to become a bit of a pancake with the shin bone on the head. One more breath here. We'll let the arms straighten so that the leg moves away from us, and then we'll just keep it at that height. And now that it's already there, it can stay there. Because getting it up there is very hard, but keeping it there, we can manage that. Okay, bend the knee. Let's meet in downward dog. Some of you will want to try Bakasana again, because the logistics of it are such that you might need to repeat it. So from here, lean forward and get your armpit in front of your shin bone. Then you're already in this little ball shape. You can just shift your weight forward and start to lift your left foot. And you can take it to regular bakasana or you can extend the leg back. And then look forward more, butt up. Good. Okay. So from down dog, we'll jump through again. Let's think of keeping our butt up for as long as possible. So when we jump through, we don't actually land. Then we lift. So there was like this moment where my hands were down, my legs were forward, but my butt was in the air. Okay, let's go for Krounchasana side 2. Right leg will fold back, but the thighs are parallel to each other. So make sure this knee is not going out to the side. It's straight forward. And let's lift the left leg up. It goes as far as it can, and then we catch it and pull it. And we're going to try not to lean back here. If we want our leg to come in closer to our head, we're just going to bend the elbows. And this is a huge hamstring thing. So if you're tight, you might have to keep your knee bent. Or instead of holding your foot, you might have to hold somewhere else on your leg. Okay, let's straighten the arms, and then we'll try to keep the leg there. So this is going to be your low belly, your hip flexors, and your thighs. Oh God, my thighs are on fire right now. Okay, let's get the hell out of this. Bend the knee, shift your weight forward, get your left shoulder inside of your left knee, and then you basically shove your elbow to the side so that you're bisecting your shin bone. Then you can place your hands and butt up as high as you can get your butt. Otherwise, the weight of your legs is going to be too big. Look forward, push your leg into your arm. Good, and vinyasa whenever you are done. Okay, we're going to come through and have a seat again. And again, we're going to try to keep our butt off the ground as we bring our feet through. So we have a moment where we're suspended, feet up, legs straight, and then we lay up. Let's see it, Anouk. Good, yes. Okay, what the heck did I want to do with you? I had exactly the pose I wanted. Ah, yes, sundial, that's what I want. Let's prep with a baby cradle first. Right leg will come across. So as we're here, it's just like the idea of Krounchasana, how we have to sit up tall and not lean back. Same thing. And we're rolling the shoulders back so that we get our shin maybe even to touch your chest. Very nice. Sundial we go. So left hand to the pinky toe side of the right foot. I use my thumb on the calf muscle to help get the calf rolling in as the shoulder comes under. Then the right hand is somewhere out to the side, and we start to straighten the right leg as much as your hamstring allows. But also, this is a huge shoulder situation, which you might not feel unless you have shoulder issues. There's a lot of poses like that. Much of a pose will be revealed to you when you have an injury. Let's take one more breath here. Then we're going to turn it into Astavakrasana, but in a very annoying way. In a way that takes a lot of Baddha strength. Okay, so we'll bend the knee. We're going to place the hands, same distance between the hands as you would in a down dog. Then you're just going to lift your butt and float your left leg. We're going to meet here. It's the same deal of getting your left leg off the ground as getting it up in Krounchasana. Good. Then bring your left ankle to your right ankle, flex your feet, and then kick your legs to the right, bend your elbows as you would a chaturanga, and get your legs as straight as you can. Take another breath there. I want to see what's going on. My feet were blocking my view. Good. And then just come back through your center place and release yourself down. And there are all kinds of fancy exits, but we're not going to go there right now. Let's try the other side. Baby cradle. So a lot of arm balances, Astavakrasana included, come from your hips being open, which comes from primary series. And the more you go through advanced series, the more you're going to realize how much you learned from primary and how much you need to keep doing primary at least once a week. No matter what series you do, even Asura Chiba still does primary series. Adam Polemis still does primary series. They can do it, we can do it. All right, let's go for sundial. That's just who I personally know with crazy practices. Watching them in person is ridiculous. It's like going to the circus. And Miss Carol Bloom, let's push your left shoulder into your leg a little bit more. Yeah, because otherwise the weight of the leg is going to kind of drag your arm out of the socket. Good. So your foundation for Astavakrasana is sort of complete. Let's now undo that sundial, and now it's going to be getting your core to work to get your butt off the ground. So hands down, lean forward, push your leg into your arm. If you don't push your left leg into your left arm, it's going to be real hard to get your butt up. Good. Then bring your right leg across and kick your legs out to the side. I know you'll want to rush into the arm balance because being in it is much easier than prepping in that way. I know. Good. And when you feel like you've had enough time, then come out of there and let's just vinyasa and we'll rest in downward dog. Because what you did was very shouldery. Okay, let's come to hands and knees. So we're going to do another headstand thing where we lift and lower. You could repeat the one we did before, or you're going to, let's see if my hands can be close enough. Okay. There. All right. So here's your headstand hands. Straight line from knuckles to elbows. We're going to try to lift our head off the ground by squeezing our palms together. Basically, your hands are going to displace your head. Your head will come off the ground, and then we're going to very slowly open that up again and let the head lay out. And you'll just play with this concept of head up, head down. We'll see how it goes. The legs are going to try to stay up the whole time, just up above the hips. Some of you might land on the wall. That means you forgot about your core and you went into a back bend. Some of us are going to go the opposite way. We're going to fight too much. And we'll land in a down dog B again. All of these things are normal. It's just part of the practice. We'll do our best to play with, pressing into the edge of the hand and the wrist enough to get the head to come off the ground. Doesn't have to be anything extreme. Having a hard time talking while I'm up there? Come on down whenever you want. And if you found this really, really hard, just do it periodically. It only took us 45 seconds, no big deal. It strengthens your shoulders a lot. It gives you some more awareness about what's happening in your headstand. Where are your legs? What is your core doing? Becomes very obvious in that moment. Okay, let's meet in downward dog again. If you feel stiff, take a vinyasa. If you feel tired, skip your vinyasa. Okay, let's bring our right foot forward in front of the right hand again. Like you did before, it's this real long pose. Good. Let's keep our back heel lifted and try to bind under that right leg. Earlier you did airplane wings. It's pretty much the same thing, just a little extra rotation for that right shoulder. Good. Let's push off the back foot, step the back foot toward the front foot, and find your bird of paradise. We'll come onto the tippy toe of the right foot and then stand. And it's very much like your sundial, but you are standing. Let's keep our bind. Bend the right leg, lower the foot. Keep your bind as you step your left foot back. And before we vinyasa from here, we're going to go for a side plank with our right leg extended in the same way. So place your right hand, pinky toe side of your right foot. You might want to scoot your right foot to the left a little bit. And we'll lift that right foot off the ground. Just like you had in your bird of paradise, we'll try to straighten the right leg. It may or may not straighten. Good. So the way out of this is through Krounchasana. If you want, lower your left hand, bend your elbows like chaturanga, lift your left leg, and then jump into chaturanga. So it's a lean, the back leg lifts, and then you shoot the right leg back. So all of this is just coming from that same hip stretch that you had in like a baby cradle, basically. Okay. Let's bring the left foot in front of the left hand. Change sides. And we'll find our bind first. And when you feel like you're able, right foot comes forward. And you stand on the right foot. It can take you any number of moments to get up to standing. There is a pose in third series where you do this with your foot behind your head. So just think about how you would have to work to stand up tall here. Getting your right leg straight as possible. Good, let's keep our bind. Lower the left foot. Keep your bind as you step your right foot back. You're just getting some control there. Good, then unbind. Your shoulder is still pretty much inside of your knee. Lower your left hand. And when you can, lift your left foot. You can keep your knee bent, or you can try to straighten your left leg. Take 2 more breaths. And then plan your exit, whatever you want that to be. If it's a Krounchasana, use your right foot to propel your weight forward. Look at the difference in where I am in space with my back foot. Yes, you got to come forward and then up. Otherwise, the elbows are going to be too far behind your wrist. Your legs are going to weigh too much. Let's jump through and have a seat. Again, try to suspend yourself. So before your legs land, you have that second of, oh, in your core. Okay. Let's extend the legs out. Keep getting off frame. I think because I'm back to my own mat, which is extra long. My roommate's mat is so little. Okay, reach for the edges of the feet. Chest toward the floor. Gaze is forward. And let's press the calf muscles down into the floor so your legs are really strong. And let's try to then lift the hands off the feet and slide them forward and then up off the ground, just like you did when you were in your chair pose earlier for your Utkatasana. You were lifting your thumbs up toward the ceiling. This really takes a lot of leg strength. Okay, let's lower the hands, rise up, wiggle the legs together. Okay, let's lay on our backs. Like the sweat a little bit. All right, so we're gonna lay on our back with baby cradle on the right leg. And we're gonna attempt to keep our head and shoulders on the floor as we roll our shoulders back and bring our shin or our calf toward our chest. It's really hard to get the head and shoulders down here. We're going to do our best. And we're going to keep kicking our right foot into our left arm. Otherwise, the knee is going to drop down. It's going to be all cockamamie. We want this to be more straight on. I'm going to have a look-see. Okay, so now you have that piece. Let me say, if possible, straighten your left leg more. Yes. And this is a pose where your teacher, if they were in the room with you, would press your left thigh down. Okay. Let's release that. Place your hands on your shins and just rock forward and back. And you're going to push your shins into your hand in order to sit up. And we'll cross the legs, place the hands. We're not going to jump back. We're just going to try to lift our butt off the ground. So it's like Uttihi, but without lotus legs. So it's hard. And then come on down. And we'll lay down again. Head and shoulders down. Left foot to the right elbow, or whatever grip you're able to manage. Good. So as much as we can, we're going to think inner thigh of right leg to the ground. You'll notice that the more you try to straighten your right leg, the harder it is to get your left shin to your chest. If you feel like getting your shin onto your chest is going to be nice for your left hip, just let your right leg come off the ground, any amount, so that you can deal with that left leg. Okay, let's let that go. Hands to the shins, rock and roll. If you tuck your chin and stare at your belly, it might be easier to get your rolling to be smooth. And we'll cross other shin on top. The legs are still free agents, so no lotus. Hands down, lift your butt, try to stay, try to breathe. Okay, and then come on down. Okay, let us do that baby cradle thing again. And we're going to try to have just one hand holding this leg, so that the other leg we can lift up and try to pull in toward our face. So I have my right foot in my left elbow, and then I'm just using my right hand to help get my left leg up. Then we're going to try to keep the left leg where it is without the hand. It sucks. Let's come on down. We're going to do that same thing, but with the right leg behind the shoulder. So instead of baby cradle, bring the knee back, right knee back, and get the shoulder under there, just like you did for Sundial, but then release your hands. So it's on its own. Lift your left leg, see how high it goes on its own, and then reach for it like you did in Krounchasana and pull it in. Because chances are good that you can actually have your head and your shin bone touch. Good. Try to keep your left leg there, but release your hand. So hard to keep it there. Yikes, right? The thigh, the hip flexors, the core. Oh. Okay. Lift your butt. Good. Come on down. That was great fun. Let's try the other side, and then we'll take that up one more notch. So it's building upon stuff you've already done, but it's a bit brutal. Okay, so here we are in our baby cradle. We're going to keep our left foot pushing to the right. We'll bring our right leg up, and we'll just try to pull it in a little bit. This is kind of a no man's land, but it's just prepping our body for what's to come. We'll try to keep the right leg there for a moment. Woo-wee. Okay, then let that go and turn it into your sundial prep. So the sole of the foot will face front. Bend the knee, get the shoulder under. And bend that left leg so it doesn't slide off your shoulder. Lift the right leg. Mine goes about that far. Then I have to grab it and pull it the rest of the way so that you can touch your head to your shin. So we see that we're flexible enough to touch it. We just want to try to do it without the arm pulling for us. So let's try to keep the right leg there. Place your right hand on the floor again. And then the same thing, just with the butt off the ground, we push down, swing the butt forward a little bit, and keep pushing the leg into the arm. Good, and let's vinyasa out of there however you can. Okay. Let's come through and have a seat. Take your time. Every time you jump through, suspend yourself for just a sec. Yes, Miss Anouk, very good. All right, so we're going to start with an upright situation, and then we're going to go back onto our backs. So make sure there's nothing back there. I'm walking this way because I think the visual is better from here. Okay, so either a baby cradle, and then you lay down. Or a foot behind your head, and then you lay down. And then we'll talk again in a moment. And one is prep for the other. So once you have your situation, you're going to lay down. And you're going to, again, try to get your head and shoulders down. With foot behind the head, that's crazy hard. I can't do it. I've seen it done. You can YouTube that. Okay, so remember the rocking and rolling that you did. We're going to use that same strength. We're going to lift our left leg up, and we're going to push with the momentum of this left leg. So if I'm on my back, it's not just my shoulders coming up, it's the boom of the left leg that's going to get me. Then we're going to lift that left leg up again. If you're in baby cradle, transfer your shoulder under your knee so that you're in that sundial shape. And then again, try to get your left leg up. Woo! I went too far back. So I fell right out of it. So think of left shin to your face. And then when you've had enough, vinyasa out. Primary series has a lot of rocking and rolling toward the end of it. So that's kind of what we have to use to get ourselves up. Okay, so from down dog, let's jump through. Practice being sustained. Good. And baby cradle, up your leg, or foot behind the head, your leg. It's really the same thing. It's just taking it a little further if you're putting your foot behind your head. Then the process of getting to the floor, you can use your hands in any way that you want so that you can get there smoothly. And once you're there, you can probably deepen whichever pose you're in. And then we're going to try to think about this right leg, the one that's not caught up. That's going to lift toward the ceiling or even toward our face. Then it's going to whip us up to sitting. Good. Enough. Try it again. Yes. And then get your shoulder in front of your knee or behind your head and lift your butt and lift your right shin bone toward your face. Good. Whenever you've had enough, vinyasa out of there. Anouk, press your leg into your arm a little bit more. Elbows in. Good. Okay. So let's come to hands and knees. We're going to measure out our elbow distance for dolphin, not dolphin, down dog B. I have to just put my hair up again because foot behind the head will take out buns and ponytails. real easily. Okay, so down dog B into Pincha, and then we're just gonna play with various degrees of back bend in Pincha. So that could mean any number of things. It's just your preference. When I want to back bend more, I'm gonna push my hips opposite my fingers and look forward. When I want to back bend less, I'm gonna push my feet up to the ceiling and bring my weight a little more into my elbows. So you just play with your range of motion, whatever that is. And folks that are really back bending naturally, they have to work very hard for the control. Those of us that are not naturally back bending, we have to work on this aspect of surrender and let your chest and your eyeballs gaze more forward. Carol, your hips have to talk to your feet. And then you have to fight. Good, and so you'll notice it's hard to change your shape once you're up there. I know, that's why we practice it. If it was easy, we wouldn't bother. All right, let's come into down dog. And we'll rock forward and come on to the belly. Shalabhasana C. Let's interlace the fingers behind the back and lift the chest and shoulders up. And for right now, let's keep the feet on the floor. And we'll press the toenails down. And we'll just try to use that to anchor the pelvis a little bit more. And then see if you can get your chest up a little higher. Good. Let's keep the height. Release your grip, hands under the shoulders. Tuck the toes and press into upward facing. Then hoist your hips into downward facing, just like we were doing before. So every chance you get, you're working the Baddha aspect. Okay, let's rock forward to plank and again onto the belly. And we're going to go for a Dhanurasana, but with our thighs on the floor. So it's a little bit hard when you don't have an assistant. We're going to hold our ankles. Your assistant would sit on your feet and make life very easy. But they're not here. You're alone in your house. So just kick your ankles back into your hands, flex your feet, and try to come up a little higher with your chest. Anchor your thighs. And pretend someone is sitting on the soles of your feet. That's going to weigh your knees down and let you come up a little higher. Good. And let's come on down. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale to upward facing. Your feet help propel you. Lift your hips. Downward dog. Curl over your feet. Okay, Pincha number 2. This time we're just going to stay put. So we'll just try to balance for, I don't know, 10 breaths, whatever that means to you. And you can choose how bent you are. Wowie zowie, let's come on down. Well, that was easy as pie. Let's vinyasa. You're like a bunch of little monkeys. Everyone was so still. I probably could have left you there for another 3 minutes and we would have been okay. All right, so the previous back bends we did, we were keeping our legs down. Now we're going to practice lifting them up. Let's rock forward to plank, lower to your belly. Again, Shalabhasana, see. I like to walk the legs back a little bit first, just so I have more space near the hip flexors. We'll interlace fingers, straighten the arms, lift the chest and shoulders, and this time lift the legs. And if you can, squeeze your feet together. And we'll try to think of reaching our toes far away from the hips. Anchor the pubic bone. Good. Keep the legs lifted, lower the hands, then lower the legs and find your upward facing. You can roll over the toes and downward facing. Again, we roll over the toes. Okay, again, rock forward to plank and then come to your belly. This time, Dhanurasana with also the legs lifting. So more of a normal Dhanurasana. We'll hold the ankles. This time we can point the toes and we'll lift the chest, shoulders, and thighs. And if you can, your big toes will touch, or your entire inner edge of foot will touch the other foot. And let's come on down, hands under the shoulders. Inhale, roll yourself into upward facing, and exhale, hoist yourself, lots of bandhas, into downward facing. Okay. Let's find our Mukta Hasta C, which is just a headstand where your hands are in this shape. And we're going to do this with scissor legs in the air. Not such a big deal. You can always do a different headstand if you want. This is a nook, either interlace your fingers or you can use that little headstand bench. So we'll have our head down. We'll lift one leg as high as we can, come onto the tippy toe of the other leg, and then start to lift the bottom leg to meet the top leg. And then we'll just change sides. So just alternate at your pace. We've done this a lot of times from a forearm stand. It will feel different. If you have neck issues, you could also just do it from a forearm stand. Then your head's off the ground and you don't have to think about neck issues. Good, so your top leg has to be really strong. It has to reach for the ceiling. As little kick as possible, based on your flexibility. Whenever you feel like you're about even on both sides, then just come on down and rest for a moment. Resting is so nice. Okay, let's rise up and we'll sit in virasana. So we'll get the knees to face front, the thighs to be parallel to each other. There's a few schools of thought about what to do with your calf muscles. I move mine out of the way, but only enough that I can do the pose. I don't roll the entire thing out to the side, just enough. When you're able, let's sit back. Tuck your tailbone under for every inch you go back. And I have to open up my knees in order to get down there, and then I try to close the knees up again. But that's just because I don't always function in a fluid way. If you're down there fully on your shoulders, reach your arms overhead so that your knuckles are on the floor. behind your head. And at the same time, tuck your ribs in so that you're not just flaring into a back bend. We want this in your quads and your hip flexors. Okay, let's start to rise up. And we'll just bring the hands in front of the knees, step back, vinyasa. Okay, so this next thing, we'll probably have to try a few times. We're going to try it once now, then do a few more back bends, then try it again, then do a few more things. We'll see how it goes. So we're just going to go Baddha hasta into Pincha mayurasana. So that would be starting out with your headstand, with the palms flat. You can get up into your headstand any way you want. I feel really stiff right now. So how do I want to go? I don't know. I have to figure it out on the fly. Okay. So once I'm up, I'm going to roll a little bit toward the forehead. Fingers press. Oops, I feel like I'm losing it. Oops. Okay. And then head up. So it's a lot of thumbs, and the hips have to move opposite the feet. It's fun. It's fun. So earlier you went from a different headstand to get your head off the ground. This is not necessarily any harder. It's just different. So your hips and your feet really have to talk to each other about how to move you into the shape of Pincha mayurasana. You'll roll a little toward your forehead because your head and neck are participating in the shape of Pincha mayurasana. And you'll start to look forward. Your hands are going to pull you into your Pincha shape. Okay, good. Let's come on down and we'll lay down on our backs. And like I said, we'll have to try again. No big deal. Let's go for safety bandha sarvagasana, ekapada. So move any ponytail out of the way. Ekapada means we're going to lift one leg at a time. So get your arms under you. Set your foundation. So your shoulders are down. The back of your head is down. Push maybe the arms and the pinky edge of your hand down. And then we'll lift the right leg up to the ceiling. That means the left leg is responsible for a lot of strain. Let's change legs. Don't drop the hips in between. The more you can push your right foot into the floor, the higher your hips will go, the easier it is to get your left leg up. And lower your left foot and release your arms. Come on down. You can do that again, or we're going to do the same leg thing, but from Dhanurasana. We'll place the hands by the shoulders. We'll come into the pose of Dhanurasana, and then you'll lift your right leg up. Lower it so you can lift your left leg up. Lower it, and on your exhale, come on down. Soles of my feet are sweating. Back bends always make my feet sweat. I think it's the anxiety. Okay, so the next round we'll do Viparita, Ekapada style. So same legs. You'll come onto the crown of your head and then slide your elbows to where your hands just were, which means your hands are closer to your feet. Then head up and then leg up. And just take your time. Try to stay equal amounts of time on one leg and then the other. Those of you in Viparita, the way out of it is returning to Urdhva Dhanurasana so that you can tuck your chin and land on your shoulders from Urdhva, so you don't do any weird neck tweak. Okay, let's roll to the side and just do a normal vinyasa. We'll meet in downward dog. And we'll try again. Headstand into Pincha. If you're just working on getting comfortable in the headstand, that's fine. Just practice placement. It's the same placement as this. So if you interlace your fingers and put your head down and then move your hands, that's pretty close to where you want your head. So I will watch. Make sure that you can have your headstand without anxiety, and then start to change your shape into a back bend. Miss Bloom, come down and try it again. I don't want your feet on that wall, girl. Hips forward. And Aga, keep reaching your feet opposite your hips. Now start looking toward your fingers and push the floor away from you. Look forward more. Oh, it's close. It was closer than the last time. Okay. Good. So we'll do one other thing, and then we're going to try one other way into that same situation. Some of you might enjoy it more. Let's go for Parigasana. We're going to fold that right leg back. I'm just dangling off my mat for the case of the camera, but you can be normal on your mat. We're going to twist to face the bent right knee and side bend over the left leg. So make sure you have 90 degrees between the thighs. So the knee is not crazy open, it's just straight forward to the hip. And we'll rise up and we'll change sides. Right leg straight, left leg bends. It's a twist and a side bend. And while you're here, I'm going to talk to you about the way we're going to do our Pincha lift off next time. Next time meaning in 30 seconds from now. So instead of headstand to arching and then lifting the head, we're going to attempt headstand to Dhanurasana and then to Pincha. I think it's the harder way, but that doesn't mean you will agree with me. So some of you might get it that way. All right, let's come on up, vinyasa if you want to. If you know what I mean, then just go ahead into it. If you need a demo, you can look. Whether I demo this well or not is to be determined. So headstand, we're straight up and down. Dhanurasana, we are also relatively straight up and down. So I'm going to still try to look at my bookshelf while I lift my head off the ground. It's very hard, but it's what we did before in the other headstand. So my head is off the ground now an inch or two, and then I'll start to look forward slowly so that I can control where my hips are. And now I'm looking forward. So technically now I am not in Dhanurasana anymore. I am in Pincha mayurasana. So give that a try if you want. Just because I think it's harder doesn't mean that you will. So make a choice, go with it. The end result is the same. It's Pincha mayurasana. The starting place is the same. It's Baddha, hasta, sirsasana, C. This is a pose very much about your core and your fingers. Lisa, that was so close. Hips a little more toward your cello. You had to look to see where it is. Good. So Aga, let your legs go back. And now start to lift your head and push your armpits opposite your feet. All shoulder strength at this point. Yes. Good. And the degree of stubbornness is quite large too. All right. Watching and look. Okay. Good. So whenever you feel like you're done, we're just going to sit in bakasana seat. And if you want to ditch this part and try out other stuff again, feel free. I know it's very addicting when you start to get really close to something wild. You just want to keep doing it over and over again. So from bakasana C, let's round back and exhale. Arch and inhale. So you're just doing cat-cow basically, but you're in the bakasana shape. Okay, the next time that you're passing through neutral, keep your neutral and start to bend your elbows. Pull your chest toward your toes. You could use your elbows on your thighs to nudge your thighs closer to the floor. Sometimes people move their hands to their thighs or to the hips or out in front of you. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's rise up, straighten the legs out in front, or whatever you consider straight to be for right now. Find the edges of the feet and fold. Chakorasana. When you're ready, do any last pose you need, and then Shalabhasana.
Let's use a few more breaths here to practice this concept of surrender. Sounds like a very hippie thing. And that might make us sort of resist it. But everything in our practice is really preparing us for the inevitable death, the end of the body and personality as we know it. So every time we're in Shavasana, we practice letting go of muscle tension, of opinions, of all that we think we are. Take the next few breaths to roll over and sit up. Let's bring the hands together, either at the heart or the third eye, and just bow forward to seal in your efforts. And the act of surrender is as much an effort, perhaps, as all of the strong effort that you made. Namaste.